Okay, I would like to call to order the Monday, November 5th meeting of the City of Monona Finance and Personnel Committee. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood.
Here.
Alder Kitzlar.
Here.
Mayor O'Connor.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of October 1st and October 30th?
Move to approve both sets of minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. I just had a question. Did we have minutes from the 22nd, or did we already approve those?
Oh, you already approved those at the meeting on the 30th.
Okay. There are no appearances. There is no unfinished business. I guess item 6A, consideration of resolution 18-11-2308, requesting exemption from county library tax.
Move approval.
Second.
Yeah, Ryan's not here tonight, so basically this is a requirement. We have to sign for Dane County to be tax exempt. For that, we do it every year. This allows us to receive the grant money for the year. It exempts us from paying any taxes for the support of the county library system.
Okay.
Right, it's because we spend above a certain minimum amount, so.
Do we have a motion on that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Any questions? Any further questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is approved. Item 6B, consideration of resolution 18-11-2305, approving an addendum to the intergovernmental agreement to fund a position responsible for stormwater information, education, and outreach coordination for the Madison Area Municipal Stormwater Partnership. Is there a motion to approve
Move
this?
to approve.
Second.
Brad will be talking about this. This is an intergovernmental agreement we have with the Madison Area Municipal Stormwater Partnership. Just addendum to it. Brad, if you want to go. And then there is a cost to it, but the cost it's same in the 2018 and 2019 is the same. And that cost is already in the 2019 proposed budget.
Yeah, so this is a yearly or annual cost as part of our IGA, or intergovernmental agreement with MAMSWAP and the group. The total cost is
24,900.
it's 3,123, I believe, actually. And that is going to be updated next year, so we could see a very small incremental increase in that cost next year for 2020, but for this year it's stays the same. So this is just to extend it for one more year.
So is
I
the
don't see a vote.
24,980 number, is that the total cost for all the communities together?
Yeah, to split. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then it's allocated based on population size.
Okay.
And there's 5 categories of population size, and that's how they split the cost between the municipalities. I believe the lump sum of the rest of the cost for that position is paid in by Dane County.
And it's in the sustainability
In-
budget for this
no.
operating budget, or what?
Not sustainability, it's
Oh.
part of the stormwater utility. I
Oh,
believe.
gotcha. Never mind. Sorry.
Mark, is that part of the stormwater utility?
Yes, this is
Yep.
one.
Sorry.
I know we joined this a few years ago. I guess in 2013. Any further questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 6C, consideration of resolution 18-11-2306, approval to enter into an intergovernmental agreement for a crowd control unit. Is there a motion to approve this?
Move to approve.
Second.
Wally?
Hello.
Hello?
So this is a agreement to enter into a crowd control intergovernmental agreement with the partners we have with Verona, Oregon, McFarland, and Stoughton. The Stoughton police chief sort of took the lead on this, and he applied for several grants through the state of Wisconsin. 2 grants. One would provide up to $11,697 for equipment, and the other grant is providing up to $4,000. Sorry about that. $4,901 for training. What this would do is it would create a 13-person team made up of the different communities that would be able to respond to emergencies, either in the communities or if the state needed assistance, say if there was another situation downtown, like when Act 10 occurred, things like that. We've tried to work with, we can't all do it by ourselves, we realize that. And that the group felt that there was a need for our particular communities to create this group.
Questions, Andrew?
Very elementary question. So how is this different than mutual aid? It's just there's a unified front now, more formally set up, that if a situation arises, this is a go, or, how is it different than mutual aid? Because I would imagine at a big event, people would be called in anyway.
Sure, and mutual aid is actually discussed in the actual intergovernmental agreement. The first version was worded to the point where it talked about mutual aid, but each agency was sort of on its own. And I kind of brought up, and our city attorney agreed with me that we should have a stronger mutual aid verbiage in the agreement, which we have. So what this does is it provides a train group to deal with civil unrest.
Okay.
When the Tony Robinson protests were going on several years ago, they were calling for mutual aid. They had trained groups in certain areas, but then we were sending officers in squad cars that have absolutely no training down to the Beltline to park their cars and try to stop this crowd.
Yeah.
And that's not how it should have occurred. Right now, there's only the city of Madison has a team, Dane County has a team, and there's a team made up of Fitchburg, Sun Prairie, and Middleton. So there's only 3 teams right now in Dane County. So this would give us a fourth team of we're not the largest municipalities, but we are bigger than a lot of other municipalities. And we're only contributing 2 people to this.
Okay.
Other agencies are doing up to 3 and 4.
And those dollar amounts that you were mentioning, that's for the whole task force, right?
Yes, and
Okay.
that's just for the equipment and training.
Okay.
So if we were to send somebody if we were to send somebody, it's not going to be, we have a riot going on right now, send this team. It doesn't work that way. It would have to be a planned event
Okay.
where at least a day ahead of time so that you can get organized and adjust schedules and
Okay.
to send people.
Doug?
So for the initial training part of it, there's no cost to the city other than the time for our officers to attend the training and any overtime we might incur?
Yes, it would be on our dime to pay their salaries to attend the training.
Right.
Where it kicks in, and it kicked in during Act 10, was when they called for mutual aid. It was a formal request through the Emergency Police Services aspect of the state. And we were actually reimbursed for our overtime of all our expenses sending people downtown.
Brad.
Most likely, if it was just something where we stood by and it was very peaceful and nothing got damaged and no one got injured, we're probably not going to go after reimbursement for mutual aid. That just isn't done. It's usually only when something out of the ordinary occurs.
The mutual aid part of the agreement is only for the 4 or 5 participating municipalities. But I assume if you get called on a regular mutual aid call, say to go downtown for some event, then we would have at least some trained officers that could be sent.
We'd have trained officers, and what they did when the Act 10 protests were occurring is they actually sent around agreements that everyone signed off on that we would be reimbursed for the people that we sent down there. I mean, we recently had the incident in Sun Prairie where there was an explosion. We sent people down there on overtime. We didn't go back trying to get money out of them.
Right.
Same thing with Middleton when they had their active shooter. We sent, we covered about 3 or 4 shifts of scene security, and it's just being a good neighbor, I think, because just helping people out. So.
Just a couple other questions. Is there a reason why Middleton and Fitchburg are not participating?
They have their own group. Middleton, Fitchburg, and Sun Prairie have had they call it a SET team, special event team is what it stands for.
Okay.
And they've had that for years. They actually had their own training group similar to our training group. We tried, when we joined the MPSIS group for global and our CAD and records management, we tried to get into that group, but it's so big that they're limiting it. Same with ours. We had to sort of beg to get in with the 4 that had already created our training group, but we really can't get any bigger than we are right now.
Okay, and then the last question, the funding for this comes from Wisconsin Emergency Management, and apparently they're setting up 40 13-person teams around the state.
Yes.
Are they expecting, I mean, seriously, are they expecting civil unrest at a greater level than we've had, or?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. I think they're just trying to be prepared. When we had our public safety meeting, reaching a blank, Dennis Hansen was sitting at the table, and he was kind of reminiscing about when they had the issues with walleye spearing up north, and they were
Right.
totally unprepared for it. And then we talked a little bit about Act 10. He thought he just thought it was a great idea, and he supported it because of his experience in seeing things through the years, to have an agreement in place and having trained people in place. It's not fair to the officers to put them in a position where they don't know how to react to moving crowds.
Right.
It's totally different from just standing on the corner and directing traffic to trying to set up a line and kind of push people off to one side or another.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Andy?
How do you select which officers are the 2 that get trained? Do they self-select, or do you?
Well, first I asked for volunteers, and then I sent it out to my supervisors and said, of these people that put in for it, who would you recommend? So that's the process.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And when this goes to council, we did have it starred for immediate action.
I wondered
because
about that.
We're under a time constraint. The money has to be spent before the end of the year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item 6D, consideration of resolution 18-11-2307, adopting the 2018 operating budget and establishing a tax levy. Is there a motion to, I guess,
Move it to council.
move this on to
Yeah.
council?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to move this forward to the city council.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 6E, convene in closed session under Wisconsin statute section 19.85, paren 1, paren E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. This is regarding the International Association of Firefighters Local 311 and the Wisconsin Professional Police Association Law Enforcement Employee Relations Division bargaining strategy. Will the clerk please call the, or is there a motion?
Move to go into closed session.
Second.
Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alder Wood,
Aye.
Alder Kitzler,
Aye.
Mayor O'Connor.
Aye. Okay, motion passes. We